I welcome you all in our today's session. In our previous video, we have seen how to find out the inverse Z transform using the power series method or the long division method. In this session, we are going to find out the partial fraction expansion method to find out the inverse Z transform. Okay, so let us continue with that. Consider a rational function x of z which is given by x of z is equivalent to n of z divided by d of z. So as discussed earlier, n of z is nothing but the numerator while d of z is the denominator function. Okay, so it is represented as b0 plus b1z raised to minus 1 up to bn z raised to minus n divided by 1 plus a1 z raised to minus 1 up to an z raised to minus n. A rational function of this form is called proper if a of n is not equivalent to 0 and m should be always less than n. Then and then only the rational function is in its proper form. An improper rational function can always be written as the sum of the polynomial and proper rational function. The improper rational function can be expressed as x of z is equivalent to n of z divided by d of z is equal to c0 plus c1 z raised to minus 1 plus c m minus n z raised to minus m minus n plus n1 of z divided by d1 of z. Okay, so this improper rational function here is defined in terms of the sum of the polynomial and the proper rational function. So this is our proper rational function and this is nothing but the sum of polynomial. Now in this equation, the inverse Z transform of polynomial can easily found with the help of the partial fraction expansion method. Okay, so we focus our attention on the inverse of proper rational functions here. So let us consider the rational function of the proper form or proper function. So here we eliminate the negative propers of z by multiplying both the numerator and denominator by z raised to n. Okay, so we can observe this is the proper form and this is nothing but the improper form. Okay, and this is the proper form. Okay, now here we are going to consider this proper form. Okay, so in this equation we can observe that there are so many negative powers of z raised to or z. Okay, so we have to eliminate these negative powers. So what we have to do here, we are going to multiply the numerator as well as the denominator by z raised to n. Okay, so our new equation then becomes x of z is equivalent to b0 into z raised to n plus b1 z raised to n minus 1 up to bm z raised to n minus m divided by z raised to n plus a1 z raised to n minus 1 up to an. Okay, now what we have to do? We have to divide this equation by z on both these sides. So x of z divided by z is equivalent to b naught z raised to n minus 1 plus b1 z raised to n minus 2 plus up to bm z raised to n minus m minus 1, the whole divided by z raised to n plus a1 z raised to n minus 1 up to an. So this can also be written as b naught z raised to n minus 1 plus b1 z raised to n minus 2 plus bm z raised to n minus m minus 1, the whole divided by z minus p1 into z minus p2 up to z minus pn, where p1, p2 up to pn are nothing but the poles here. Okay, so we can determine the coefficients here. Okay, so the distinct poles can be represented here as x of z divided by z is equal to c1 divided by z minus p1 plus c2 divided by z minus p2 up to cn divided by z minus pn. Okay, so here we can determine the coefficients c1, c2 up to cn by using the formula ck is equivalent to z minus pk into x of z divided by z, where z is equivalent to or at z is equivalent to pk, where k is equivalent to 1 to up to n. If x of z has a pole of multiplicity L, that is, it contains in denominator the factor z minus p of k raised to L, then the expansion of the form given in the equation is no longer valid. So here we assume L is equivalent to 2. Okay, so here we assume that L is equivalent to 2 here. Okay, so x of z divided by z will be equivalent to 1 divided by z minus p2 square into z minus p1. So this expression or this can be expressed in the partial fraction form as x of z divided by z is equal to c1 divided by z minus p1 plus c2 divided by z minus p2 plus c3 divided by z minus p2 square. Where c1 can be determined by z minus p1 into x of z divided by z at z is equivalent to p1. What is c2 here? It is equivalent to d by dz of z minus p2 square x of z divided by z at z is equivalent to p2. And what is c3? c3 is equivalent to z minus p3 of z minus p2 of bracket square x of z divided by z to at z is equivalent to p2. Okay, so in this way we can find out the c1, c2 and c3. Okay, so we can find the complex poles of the partial fraction by using the same method. So there are 6 different rules to find out the partial, or there are 6 different steps for partial fraction expansion method. So what are those steps? We will see here. What we have to do firstly is check the function is proper or not. Okay, so whether it is in proper form or not, we have to check it first. If n is greater than m, then it is in the proper form. Okay, so it is in the proper form when n is greater than m. Now what is our second step? What we have to do? Multiply the numerator and denominator by z raised to n. Okay, this is our second step. Okay, so this will convert the function in positive power of z. Now what is the third step here? We have to obtain the equation x of z divided by z. Okay, so obtain x of z divided by z. That is our third step. Now what we have to do? Nextly, we have to factorize the denominator, okay, and obtain the roots. The denominator will be in the form of z minus p1, z minus p2 up to z minus pn, where p1, p2 and pn are nothing but the poles, okay, that we have discussed earlier here. Okay, so these are nothing but the poles here. Okay, now what we have to do here? We have to write down what is our next step. Our fifth step is nothing but we have to write down the equation in the form of z minus p1, in the form of x of z divided by z is equivalent to c1 divided by z minus p1 plus c2 divided by z minus p2 and so on up to cn divided by z minus pn, where c1, c2 up to cn are nothing but the coefficients. Okay, so this coefficient cn can be calculated as, okay, z minus pn into x of z divided by z at z is equivalent to pn. Okay, now we will use the standard z transform pairs to obtain inverse z transform. Okay, so there are certain z transform pairs that we have seen earlier. So those pairs we have to use to obtain the inverse z transform, that is a raised to n of n. So inverse z transform of this is nothing but z divided by z minus a for the ROC of modulus of z greater than mod of a. The same manner, the minus a raised to n into u of minus n minus 1, the inverse z transform or z transform pair for this is z divided by z minus a, where the ROC is modulus of z is less than mod of a. Okay, so in this way we have to use the proper z transform pairs to find out our inverse z transform. So we will see one example here for this. We have to find out the inverse z transform of x of z is equivalent to (1 plus 3z inverse divided by 1 plus 3z inverse plus 2z raised to minus 2. Okay, where the ROC is modulus of z is greater than 2. Okay, now in this case, what we have to do here? We have to firstly find out the x of z in proper form. So x of z is equivalent to z into z plus 3 divided by z square plus 3z plus 2. So what we have done here, to eliminate the negative powers, we have multiplied the numerator and denominator by z square. Okay, so whatever is our maximum power, we have to multiply it with that. Okay, so what is our first step? In first step, we have to check whether the function is proper or not, and then what we have to do, we have to multiply it by z raised to n. Okay, so we have multiplied it by z raised to n. Okay, then we have to convert it in the proper form. Okay, so here z into z plus 3 divided by z plus 1 multiplied by z plus 2. Okay, now divide the x of z by z. So what we obtain here, x of z divided by z will be z plus 3 divided by z plus 1 into z plus 2. Okay, now we have to convert the above equation in partial fraction form. Okay, so x of z divided by z will be equivalent to c1 divided by z plus 1 plus c2 divided by z plus 2. Okay, now how we have to find out the c1 and c2 here. So how to find out this? Our equation for c1 is equivalent to z plus 1 multiplied by x of z divided by z at z is equivalent to p1. So what is our p1 here? That is minus 1. Okay, so replacing these values, we have z plus 1 into z plus 3 divided by z plus 1 into z plus 2 at z is equal to minus 1. So it will become z plus 3 divided by z plus 2. Replacing the values of z here, what we have, minus 1 plus 3 divided by minus 1 plus 2. So that is nothing but 2. So the value for c1 is equal to 2 here. In the same manner, we have to find out c2. So the equation for c2 will be z plus 2 into x of z divided by z at z is equal to minus 1. Sorry, z is equal to minus 2 here. Okay, so z plus 2 multiplied by z plus 3 divided by z plus 1 into z plus 2. Okay, so z plus 2 gets cancelled out. At z is equal to minus 2, our equation will be minus 2 plus 3 divided by minus 2 plus 1. So this will be minus 1. So replace now the values of c1 and c2 in our equation. So we have x of z divided by z is equivalent to 2 divided by z plus 1 minus 1 divided by z plus 2. Okay, so ROC is greater than 2, z greater than 2. So this sequence is a causal sequence, and from the by comparing with the z transform pairs, we have now it is equivalent to x of n is equal to 2 into minus 1 raised to n u of n minus of minus 2 raised to n u of n. Okay, so this is our inverse Z transform here. Okay, so in this way we can find out the inverse Z transform by using the partial fraction expansion method. So I hope this session will be helpful for you to find out the inverse Z transform by using the partial fraction expansion method.